Hello everybody and welcome to Bright Weird. Interesting subject this one, because today we're going to be talking about reincarnation, a journey from this life into the next. So, what is reincarnation? Well, it's the belief that we're some weird kind of spiritual energy that comes down into this three-dimensional realm and incarnates in these three-dimensional bodies with the sole aim of learning, of improving whatever our spiritual essence is. And that when these physical bodies die, that our spiritual essence leaves, goes back to where it came from, and then reincarnates in another body. And in that other body, more lessons are learned, more karma is worked out. Okay, so let's talk about karma. Karma is said to be a force that is created by your actions that affects your future existence. Now, Buddhists say that all karma has to burn itself out, has to work itself out. And the way that karma works with reincarnation is quite interesting, because it doesn't work the way that you might think it does. Now the law of karma is like you get what's coming to you. What goes around comes around. But with regards to reincarnation, it's more a case of if you're an extremely greedy person in life, if you've got so much wealth and you need so much more, in the next life, in the next incarnation, you'll be born into a situation that gives you more of that. So you'll be born into a wealthy family, a greedy family. And the idea being that over several lifetimes, several incarnations, that eventually you just get sick of it. Think of karma as like another spoonful of sugar in your tea. And when you've got 30 spoonful of sugars in your cup of tea, you've that's it, I've had enough of that now. And then you've learnt your lesson. Then karma has worked itself out. Reincarnation has always been an important part of many faiths around the world. It's a fundamental part of Buddhism. The Egyptians believed in it, the Celtic Druids believed in it, certain Orthodox Jewish groups firmly believe in reincarnation, and it was also a fundamental part of Christianity up until the 6th century, when, to prevent certain breakouts of war in the Eastern Mediterranean, the Emperor Justinian I ordered the Pope to strip the teachings of reincarnation out of the early Christianity. The Pope didn't want to do that because he believed firmly it was the teaching of Jesus Christ, and it took 5 years of bullying and harassment before the Pope finally gave in and removed the teachings of reincarnation from Christianity. And that's why in the Western world, Christians in particular, have no knowledge or understanding of reincarnation. They laugh, they scoff at it, they think it's absolute nonsense. But the simple fact of the matter is, look across all nations and all religions. Reincarnation is a fundamental part of everything that they have and still do believe in. In this practical world of mildly educated people, reincarnation needs some sort of proof or evidence for people to accept it, but not for everybody, because some people have experienced flashes of previous lives, visions of things that they just could never know about of previous existence, like going to a certain place and just knowing that you've been there before and knowing where everything is, some things being so very familiar, or meeting a person in this life that you feel so incredibly connected to, like you already know their soul. Reincarnation has been proven time and time again to be a fundamental part of everything that we do. Not for everybody, but for most. Now, some people might have had past life regressions, memories from previous lives, and they might just brush it off as nonsense or a dream or a false memory. But for others, it can be an extremely powerful experience. I guess really, in these modern times, if you want to give proof of reincarnation to people, you need to make it relative to the world in which they're living in this particular incarnation. So here's a stab in the dark, here's a go at that. Imagine reincarnation is like a game called life, and that when you're alive, when you come into this particular incarnation, you're just playing the game on a PlayStation 57 5,000 years in the future. I know that might sound crazy, but just imagine that for a minute. And that when you die in the game, you go back and you have another go at it with the ultimate aim of completing the game eventually. And when your soul, which is what you actually are, completes the game of life and learns all of the lessons and completes all of the levels, if you like, you can then go on to another form of existence and play a different game. But just like computer games, the game of life, the game that we're playing now, has certain cheat codes built in, certain things that you can do to improve your experience. Now, there's a book. I think they might have made a TV series about it as well, and it's called The Secret. And this is essentially the cheat code for life. And it's we've all heard about prayer, haven't we? I'm sure we've all heard about that. And the key thing with prayer is don't ask for anything. You should always say thank you. Now, this is the I am thing, because if you're praying for something to come to you, you will never have it. It will never come to you. You have to pray that you've already got it. You have to believe that I am happy, healthy, wealthy and wise. And thank you for everything that I've been given, because that's how prayer works. Now, how it works as a cheat code is if you're really down in life and everything has gone completely wrong for you, you can cheat your way out of that. Maybe not in this life, but maybe in the next. And the way to do it is to believe I am. So no matter how bad your situation is, imagine yourself in the best possible situation, the situation that you want to be in. Visualize yourself in that position, and don't just think it in your head, believe it in your heart. It's extremely difficult to do. It's very easy to imagine it, but to believe you've already got all of those wonderful things in your heart is extremely difficult. But if you can do that, it might take weeks or months or even years. If you can believe in your heart that you've already got all of those desires and they already surround you, the universe will make a way somehow for all of that to happen, all of those things to surround you. Now, the law of karma states that whatever you're doing in this life, you're going to get more of, with the essential aim of burning it all out. We've said that. So if in this life you're a total loser and you don't want to be a total waste of space, in the next life you can cheat and you can believe that you are a multi-millionaire and everything surrounds you and you're warm and you're happy and you're healthy, and no matter how bad your situation is, none of that matters. And you can cheat karma so that in the next incarnation you end up surrounded in a situation where you've got all of those things, where you land in a family of great wealth and opulence. But here's the thing, you might be able to cheat the game, but you can't cheat karma. Because if you're on a series of incarnations working out peasantry, working out suffering, working out poverty, then if you're born into that next incarnation of wealth and opulence because you cheated, then you're going to lose everything in that next life and end up back in the gutter, because the aim of your current karmic trend is to experience such things. Something to be considered with reincarnation is something that I'll coin as alchemical reincarnation. Now, to understand what that is, first you need to understand what alchemy is. And alchemy has two aspects, the material and the spiritual. So when we normally think of reincarnation, we're only ever thinking about spiritual reincarnation, the belief that our spiritual essence, our soul, if you like, is bouncing from one existence into another with the purpose of learning. However, alchemical reincarnation would also consider how the physical body, this meat, this flesh, how this gets reincarnated. That's quite an interesting subject because it's distinct and very different from spiritual reincarnation. Physical reincarnation is genetic code getting passed on. I mean, genetic memory, if you will. I mean, some people are born afraid of spiders. We're all born with the hunger to so that we know how to eat. We all know how to breathe. Our cells know how to reproduce. But those higher genetic memories, like being born afraid of spiders or afraid of heights, are a defense mechanism that's held in these physical bodies. Otherwise, we'll just get wiped out. So, other forms of higher memory are certain dogs that know how to point naturally when they're finding something. We haven't trained them to do that. Or a horse that knows how to trot in a particular way. So there are certain genetic memories inside us. Some are for the growing of the physical body, others are slightly higher memories. But there are also even higher genetic memories encoded that are passed down from our ancestors to us. And some of our memories that we've got in these bodies, in these physical bodies, have come from previous bodies. So I mentioned previously that we might have flashes of inspirational flashes of past life regression. That could be coming from a spiritual source, where our soul has previously experienced that, or it could be a deep repressed genetic memory, something that one of your body's physical ancestors has recently experienced. So why can't we remember previous incarnations? Well, like my wife says, we can barely remember what we did last week. But all joking aside, if we could remember our previous incarnations, it would kind of ruin the game of life. If we could remember everything that we'd done before, the pain and the grief and the misery that we'd felt and the previous incarnations and the people we'd loved, and it would just completely destroy and ruin the point of this particular incarnation. And something else to be considered, perhaps our soul does remember everything with crystal clarity, and we're just not able to recall it. Maybe the volume of it is turned all the way down, not completely, but all the way down. And that could account for the flashes of small inspiration of previous lives that some of us might glimpse on occasion. And perhaps the soul resides in a higher dimensional state, a place where living things are symbols and symbols are living things. And therefore, every lesson that's learned isn't recorded in English or in the language that this particular body would understand, but recorded in the language of symbolism. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this short and hopefully informative glimpse into reincarnation. Perhaps in the next life, I'll be your brother, or even your mother. I'm Steve, this has been Bright Weird. Thanks for watching.